Okay, down to 1 slice of bread, so it's time to make bread. Gonna get binky. This is too much starter to have. It's full of starter, and now I'm just going to take out a little tiny bit for the bread today, but this is too much to have. There's a bunch of recipes that have for starter when you have too much, and I need to make some of them because this is way more than you need. Just like need a little bit. And then also, hold on a second, I would definitely recommend keeping a notebook of everything, how it worked. And then so, because I think everybody's kitchen's different, everybody's starter's different, so I arrived at what works for me, but you know, might not work for you. So my recipe uses 150 grams of starter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a jar, and you can, the time frame on this, it's 10 o'clock in the morning. You could do this at 5 in the morning, and then the dough would be done by like say 1, and you could just wrap it up and put it in the fridge. Once you get the timing, I think is the most important thing. So I need 150 grams. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 50 grams of my starter in here, 50 grams of water, 50 grams of flour. It's a 1:1:1 feeding ratio. So let's put 50 grams in here. I might go 60. And then if I have, and the reason I have so much starter is that when I have left over, I put it back. Now, this starter, eventually living in the refrigerator, does need to be fed. Maybe every few weeks. I have to look that up. I think I'm going to go 60 just because, so I don't have to scrape every teeny bit out of the jar. You know what I'm saying? Okay, that's good. So 60 grams of starter. Now, at this point, this goes back in the refrigerator, and that's why eventually I think this needs to be fed. I need to whittle this down to a lot less, because just taking 50 grams out here at a time is not, and then feeding it, it's not going down. You know what I'm saying? I also keep my starter band thing around it so I don't lose it. So this was 60 grams of living starter, and I'm going to feed it with 60 grams of flour and 60 grams of water, and both are very important. Ooch! I always put a little teeny bit of organic rye flour in there. Seems to really like it. And then I use King Arthur bread flour. Both of them are, organic is best. It just is. Doesn't have the pesticides on it. And unbleached. So this is at 0. If I don't put all rye, I put like a little bit. So I'm going to put like 20 grams of, and I'm not exact, I mean, it's bread, you know, so like 20-ish grams of organic rye, because it makes a really strong starter. And then King Arthur bread flour, which is worth it. You do need bread flour for good sourdough, in my opinion. So I'm going to make the rest of this up until it gets to 60. Okay, almost 50. Okay, done. Okay, now the water. The water is also important. This is distilled water. The chlorination and fluoride and stuff like that is not that great for bread. It can kill the microorganisms. Water's heavy. And then, and also this is important. You have to kind of, with consistency, if it's too thin, it can't like hold its like bubbles. So you kind of want to make sure it's like pancake dough, but a teeny bit thicker. See, this is like really thick. See how it's like, not, it's more like cookie dough. So I'm going to put a little teeny bit more water. But you want it to be thick enough so like it holds the bubbles. Hold on a second. And that's pretty good. It's like thicker. It's not cookie dough. Look, it's more liquidy, but it's there. And so I saw somewhere somebody said don't use metal. And I don't know if I believe in that, but whatever. I use this Lucky chopstick. And I use this a lot. This is called a spurtle, and it's really good for getting pushing it down the sides of the jar so you can really see it. It's also good, you'll see when I mix the dough I use it. Okay. Okay, so that's where we're starting out. I'm going to put my little band around it. I went through a bunch of rubber bands. They tend to just break, so I wanted something a little more permanent. Okay, there we are. So we're looking for this to double, and then we can mix the dough with it. Temperature is everything, and my kitchen is really cold right now. By the way, Parmesan lids work really good as mason jar lids. Anyway, temperature is everything. If you have a relatively normal, like not cold kitchen, you can just leave this on the counter. Right now it's cold where I am, so I have this little hot plate. I can set it to like 85. It's very, very like low heat. So I'm going to use this. In the summer, I definitely don't think that I would need this, but if your kitchen is in the 60s, which mine is, then you want to put this here, and you're going to wait for it till it just double. That's it. It's about 4 hours for me. Just keep an eye on it. Okay, so this is ready. And you can see it's all bubbly. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna mix the dough. This is a clear bowl is good because you can see what's kind of going on with it, and you need to have a lid or a plastic cover or something so it doesn't get dehydrated. Okay, so kitchen scale. And my recipe is here. Okay, so I do 150 grams of binky, 300 of water, and 500 of bread flour. Okay, so here's our binky. So 150. Wait, I'll be back. Okay, so, and see, it's pretty empty. You could take this and put it in the refrigerator, and that would be for next time. It's kind of a big jar, but whatever. To that is 300 grams of water, distilled. And now you mix these together so that it's all dissolved. Be back. Okay, so that's done. I'm gonna just get some of this starter off of here like that. Okay. Now 500 grams of bread flour. Oh, shit. You're back. Okay, so there's 500 grams of bread flour, and then I'm going to mix this. Now, the only other thing that this recipe needs, or the only other thing that you put in, is 10 grams of salt. But I am going to let this sit on the counter for about a half an hour, either anywhere from like maybe a half an hour to an hour before I add the salt. And it's called the autolyse period, autolyse or autolyse. I don't know how it's pronounced, but anyway. And what it's about is it's about hydrating the flour before you add the salt, because the salt is weird. It kind of takes water out of things, and you want the water to get into the flour. So for this stage of the dough, it doesn't have to be like that, like perfect. You just want to make sure all the flour is pretty much like absorbed like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the top on it and just leave it on the counter about a half an hour and come back and add the salt and do it the first kneading. Okay, it's been a little over half an hour, something like that, and the dough is very hydrated. I'm going to add the salt. So I'll put this on here. 10 grams. It's fine sea salt. I just kind of sprinkle it over the dough. That. Okay, that's good. Now we're going to mix that in. Done with the scale. Okay, and then if you wet your hand, it's a little bit easier, and you can feel that the dough has kind of like relaxed. You can even see the start of the gluten. Okay, so I'm going to mix this in. I'll be right back. So once that's in, usually sourdough bread tutorials or whatever, they'll tell you, okay, now you just cover it. And we do some stretch and folds like every half an hour, like 3 times or something like that. And this is where you would normally like knead the bread. And so what I found is that the bread really likes to be kneaded. So it's the way I do it is a little bit less hands off. And I give it a really good kneading, just in the bowl, you know, it doesn't have to be fancy, but like really like knead it. It's not going to hurt it. And then in the future, it's going to have air bubbles in it. You're not going to be able to knead it like this because it's going to start doing its bread thing. So now there's nothing like to break. So you could just take it out. You could take it out too, put some flour on a board and knead the shit out of it for like 10 minutes, 5 minutes or something. And it would probably like really, really help it. Okay, so get it so that, and you'll start to see that it like starts feeling like less sticky and all that stuff. So this is our dough. And then this is the part that helped me make actual bread that was good. So if you're just starting it, whatever, it's really important. And it's called this method. It's I always forget what it's called. Oh, the aliquot method. And you can look it up, right? And there's like a chart about it. You can take off, hold on a second. Look, and there's like a chart, and it'll tell you to take the temperature of your dough, and then depending on the temperature of your dough, you take some out, and you're gonna blah, 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 blah. And it's not too difficult, but this is what I've been doing, and it works really well. And I could not make bread happen before that was like the way that was like supposed to be unless I did this. So this is what I do. Get your scale. And then it has to be straight-sided. These work really well. It's this Anchor Hocking glass, and it has these increments on it. And I'm going to take 40 grams out of my bread. So I'm just going to pinch off, and then it'll go back in at the end. So I'm going to pinch off, let's see, a little bit. It's 30. And if you're starting making bread, then I highly suggest you do this, because I could not get it to be perfect. I felt like it was either underproofed or overproofed. Okay. It's a little much. Hold on. Okay, so this, we're going to come back in like a half an hour and stretch and fold it a little bit. And then this one, I'm going to push this down so it's kind of flat in this glass. And then the deal here is that because it's a straight-sided glass, you will absolutely know when the dough doubled, because in a bowl, because of its dome and everything like that, it is really hard to tell with all certainty. Has it doubled? Did it not double? Even in a clear bowl, because the way that bowls are, they don't. So from doing this a bunch, I know that 40 ounces on this Anchor Hocking glass, is where like the 1 ounce line is. So when the dough has risen, it's proofed to 2 ounces, and so it's straight, so you can see it really easily. When it's to 2 ounces, that's it. It's ready to form into loaves. So I'm going to keep this with my bread, and so they're going to be same temperature, whatever, and you want it like this so that you can see the rise. Now, last thing before I leave this is that I have a cold kitchen, so the best place that I found for proofing my bread is in the microwave. It's draftless, and if you turn on the light that is actually underneath, it kind of, and I mean very subtly, warms the bread. But not warm, just kind of not drafty, not cold. So I'm going to set my dough in there. And that's my little control. Like I said, I want it to see it hit the 2 ounce mark. And I know it's doubled. I'll be back in half an hour. All right, this is stretch and fold one. You can get your hands wet if you want to, and then the idea is that you get under it and like you stretch it and fold it over. You can fall down an internet wormhole about this. Like there's like 4 different methods. One's like an envelope fold, one's like this method. There's a whole bunch of them. It's important that you do like 3 of them, and they don't have to be perfectly like a half an hour or anything like that, but like it makes the see how you're stretching it? It like produces the gluten, I think. Anyway, so, and you'll see every time you do it, the bread's like easier and easier to handle. See how it's like not sticking anymore? It's actually really like much less sticky. And this is only the first one. So you can do them like half an hour, every 20 minutes, something like that. Do like 3 series of them, and then you can just let the dough like bulk ferment until it doubles, and then you just make loaves. So that's one. I'm going to put it back in the microwave, come back and do another one. See how it's like real, it's getting really, so I did one stretch and fold between this, and then this is going to be my last one, and you can see how different the dough is. It's very, first of all, it's like not sticky, too sticky, and then also it's really smooth. So it's kind of like smooth, velvety. So you want to pick it up, fold it over, and you kind of just do it till you can kind of tell when's good, But the other thing, and you kind of want to be gentle, because if whatever rise you have in this, you don't want to kill it. But you see how smooth it is? It's very smooth. Okay, so this is my last one, and now I'm going to let it. Now I'm going to let it bulk ferment in the microwave, which is vastly warmer than my kitchen. Okay, let's tuck Binky in. So just as a difference, my kitchen is about 66 degrees right now. And temperature is everything with proofing bread. So hold on. So my kitchen's 66. And 72. So there you go. And that's a really good 72, I think, is pretty good for proofing bread. So now this is going to stay in here until this guy is at 2. You can see it's all bubbly down here. Okay, so it's pretty late because I started really, really, really late, and it's very cold in the house. And I can tell that it's ready because, there. See how the bottom, not the dome part, but see that how it's at 2, and remember that it was at 1, and that's why this works really, really well, and that's why this is kind of hard to gauge. Like, it just is. Like, when you look at it, you're like, I think so. It looks floofy. It's got bubbles. It's jiggly. Okay, so then it's time to make the loaves. Just wrap it up, stick it in the refrigerator till tomorrow, and then you have a lot of leeway. Once it's in the refrigerator, you have some leeway. Some people leave it in there for kind of a long time. I'm gonna leave it in there till tomorrow, like mid-morning. You can use a dough scraper or whatever, but I just use this thing again. Okay. And don't forget this little bit. Okay, so floured, and it is very, very light. It feels like very airy and like and like, I don't know if you tell, it's like very like soft, like super soft, like a pillow, like pillowy, pillow soft. Okay, so, and if you have a dough scraper, or I think this is called a bench scraper, this can really help so it doesn't stick. Okay, so then we're gonna make our, so light, it's so light. It's perfect. Okay, sorry I have to keep reaching over, but that's how it is. So you want to retain as much of the airiness as possible. See how airy it is? So just gonna kind of stretch it out like this. Really, really lightly. Super light touch. Just kind of like, hey. Like that. Yeah, that's good. Then hold it this way. And that way. And then to seal it, you can pinch the sides, and then you have to kind of swirl it towards you, and that seals the bottom like this. Push like this. Pull, And the point is to make surface tension in the bread. And you can see the bubbles because there's so much air in it. Okay, it's pretty good. See the bubbles over here? Okay, put that there. That. It's all, like all the bubbles. Okay. Then we're gonna grab one of these guys. It's a tea strainer. It's kind of clogged, I think. Wait, hold on. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, there's flour everywhere. It doesn't matter. Okay. So then take this guy. Put him upside down. Like that. I'm gonna pull again to make more surface tension and pinch this in. That, because this will be like pretty much one of the last times you touch it. Because then tomorrow you just kind of dump it out into the pan. Okay, so pinch it together. And you could do this in a bowl too. Just put like a towel in a bowl. That's fine. These baskets are good because they dry out that side, and when you flip it, of course, that's going to be the top. Okay, this is not blending as it should. Okay, I'm going to say it's fine. Okay, that's good. That was hard. Okay, it's one little area. Okay, done. Now it goes in the fridge. I'll show you how I wrap it. Okay, so then this is going to go in the refrigerator. This is very important. And see, this is where it can kind of evaporate. But this is part, you don't want this to dry out. So what I'm going to do is, and this is really important that you put a towel. And the reason it's important that you put a towel is because one time I did not put a towel like this, and the condensation from the plastic over it kept dripping on it, and it just ruined it completely. So I'm going to get a clean towel, then put plastic over the top. This is like a shower cap I keep reusing over and over and over again. They work really, really, really well, and they're very convenient. And so it looks like that. And I'm going to put it in the refrigerator till tomorrow, and I have leeway, so see you tomorrow. Okay, it's the next day. It's 9:46. We're going to bake this bread. So we have bread today, and we got this. It's been in the refrigerator overnight. Let's put that there. So I'm going to take this out, and then I am going to, set our oven to bake at 500. Hold on. And that's going to take a long time. And I'm going to take my Dutch oven and put it in there so it gets hot. You can also bake this in like like 2 like loaf pans, but it needs the top on it for steam. And so let me get my crumbs out of here. So I'm going to get the crumbs out of here, dump the crumbs, and put this in the oven. And it takes a while to heat up, maybe over half an hour. Okay, bye. Okay, and while that's heating up, I'm going to see there's so much I don't know if you can tell, but there's so much condensation on the top of this from being in the refrigerator. And if there wasn't the towel under it, it would have all fallen on the bread. So like this is actually kind of damp, the bread, the top. So take that off. You can use, for this part, you can just use parchment paper. And I did for a while, but the bottom of the loaf can get like really, really brown because I'm using a black Dutch oven. If you have a lighter colored Dutch oven, like enameled, and it's like white or something like that, the bottom does not get as brown. But with the parchment paper, it's getting brown. And then also I'll show you in the oven, another thing I did so that the bottom doesn't get brown. But this fits perfectly. So we're gonna take it, we're gonna flip it over. Ta-da! Lovely. And we're gonna let this sit for a little bit. I'm not gonna score it until right before it goes in the oven and give it its expansion cuts. You have to do that or else it basically like, because it needs somewhere to go. It's like perfect. It's fluffy. It's not sticky. I started making bread. The bottom was much too dark. And what I found is to put a like a cookie sheet under it like this, and it diffuses the heat. So I actually have two things diffusing the heat. It's a pizza stone and then like a cookie sheet, so that the heat isn't like scorching the bottom, because I have a black Dutch oven. I think if you have a white one, it's not so much of a problem. Okay, so it's at 500, and so I'm going to turn it down for baking to 450. So I'm going to put that at 450. Take out the pan. It's my other lathe right there. Okay. Put it back in here because it was spreading a little bit too much for me. So turn this like this. Oops, take it off. And then it needs expansion cuts. You can get pretty fancy with these, obviously. You can look up a ton of them on the internet. I like a simple cross. And you'll see you want to go through the first, not too deep, but you want to go through the crust, and you'll see it like that. Okay. And now I'm going to put it in the pan and cover it and put it in for a half an hour. After half an hour, then we're going to take the top off and put it back in for 20 minutes. Every oven is different. You have to find out how crispy you want your crust and all that kind of stuff. So you have to work with it a little bit. Okay, set it for 20 minutes. Okay, it's the moment of truth, and let's get this out of the oven. Let me turn off the timer. Turn off the oven. I think that's cool enough. And I'm going to take it out, and I'm going to put it on this baking rack and let it cool completely. If you cut into it before you have a gummy mess, it'll continue to like let steam out and crack. So like at least an hour. I'm writing in the description because I'm putting this video, since it's going to be long, I'm going to put it on YouTube because I have a lot of starter and I'm giving it to friends and family, and so instead of like trying to write out like what to do with it or whatever, it's a jumping off place. But I am not in any way. I've only been baking sourdough for like 6 months. I am not an expert, but it has some pretty good loft. It probably could be bigger, but it's very crispy. It's very hollow. And this method has been really dependable. We're going to let it cool for an hour. We'll cut it. Okay, this is cool enough to cut into. Even with the 2 sheets and everything, it's still, see how nice and dark, see how dark that is? So before, when I was cooking them, it was really dark. So let's see how it came out. Let's see. Ta-da! Came out great. So, one more thing, 2 more things. Instead of cutting it down this way for slices where it's mushing it, if you turn it like this way and then cut it this way, the 2 crusts are acting like support pillars, and so when you cut this way, it keeps it fluffy in the middle. It doesn't squash it. Then the other thing is, like, we'll have some of this today, and then what I'll do is I'll just completely slice this up like this and put it in the freezer. And then when you want a piece of toast, just take one out of the freezer. It's already sliced, but you don't want to freeze it like this because it's frozen when you want a slice of toast. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. I'm gonna have a piece of bread.